Alright, welcome ladies and gents. It seems James Gunn and Peter Safran have wasted no time at all. Stuff is being announced. Stuff is being changed, retooled, adjusted. So this is positive to some degree. You know, I think a load of people were thinking, yeah, DC's kind of just sat there stagnating. Stuff is sort of ruminating in the background. But now we are getting updates. Very, 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 very key updates. And I would say because they're going to be doing, you know, an investors call, an earnings call at a certain point, it kind of makes sense that that's what they, you know, they want to release big pieces of information to get the company back on its feet, financially speaking, sort of in the eyes of markets and things. So if you didn't know, just to sort of bring you quickly up to speed, James Gunn and Peter Safran have been appointed the co-chairmans and CEOs, co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, which is, I guess, another company under Peter Zaslav's Warner Brothers Discovery. So, pretty crazy. You know, loads of people dislike that. I did initially, but then I sort of thought, well, no, actually, you know, it's just creativity. So it's not necessarily that he's going to be on board. James Gunn necessarily going to be on board directing a lot of this stuff. He's just not. He's not going to have the time. I don't know. I'm not as... I don't hate it as much as I initially did. Let's put it that way. And so that was literally last night. And now, boom, loads of stuff is being announced. DCU's got a name. It's not the DCEU, it's the DCU. Which doesn't make any sense because... Is that Detective Comics Universe? Or is it Detective Comics Cinematic Universe? So should it be DCCU or DCU? You tell me, what does it stand for? Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, we're going to dive into this today. Just before we do, check a link in the description box to Missed H Reviews live archives. I'm live streaming again every Tuesday and Thursday. They're very interesting conversations with fellow creators and industry professionals, covering loads of very wide-ranging topics. And if you can't watch a whole stream because they're 2 hours long, don't blame you. There's highlights, just 8 minutes, 10 minutes here, 15, 20 minutes. 20 minutes is about the longest, but they're generally a lot shorter. So check it out in the description box. But let's dive into this. So Green Lantern HBO Max series is being redeveloped. Boom, straight away, done. You know, something which they very clearly are like, oh yeah, you know what, this could earn us some good money. You know, this is popular. And rather than having Guy Gardner and Alan Scott, they're going for Jon Stewart, which they should have done from the start. And I don't understand why they didn't. You know, Guy Gardner and Alan Scott are not as popular as Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart has remained one of, I guess, the most prominent Green Lanterns in all of the animated stuff. Not necessarily most of the comics, of course, but most of the animated stuff has been Jon Stewart. He is a very recognisable character, and I really like the character of Jon Stewart. I sort of like his sort of surly nature. He's quite stern every now and then. It's like a nuanced performance. I always remember it being in the animated shows, and I really, really liked that character. So this is great. This is, again, wasted no time. Literally no time at all. And mainly because they have to overhaul it. So, you know, it makes sense. But the Hollywood Reporter was the ones to sort of jump on this. Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern HBO Max series being redeveloped. And it loses the writer. Now, Berlanti's not good anyway. I'm sick of Berlanti with DC products. He's shit. I'm so sick of him. But Seth Grahame-Smith has departed the drama after completing scripts for 8 episodes that were to focus on Hal Jordan and Alan Scott. So HBO Max's long gestating Green Lantern TV series is changing gears. So the drama has been in the works since late 2019. Late 2019. You should have had it by now. You should have. And I guess, you know, this is why having people dedicated in charge of it all makes sense. Because they can just look at this project and go, what have you been doing for 3 years? Nothing? See you later. you know? And that's what they should be doing. There's so much dead weight in Hollywood where people just get paid nonsensical sums of money to do fuck all. But anyway, it's now going to focus on John Stewart, one of DC's first black superheroes. The series from executive producer Greg Berlanti was to originally have revolved around Guy Gardner and Alan Scott, and had already cast Finn Wittrock and Jeremy Irvine as the respective Green Lanterns. That's interesting. I think they got the names wrong at the top there then. Hollywood Reporter. That doesn't make sense. Alan Scott and Guy Gardner. What's this then? Proofread, mofos. But anyway, as part of the creative overhaul, writer and showrunner Seth Grahame-Smith has departed the series after completing scripts for a full season of 8 episodes. It took you 3 years to write 8 episodes. What are you doing? Sources say Grahame-Smith, who signed on as writer and showrunner a year after Green Lantern was announced, chose to leave the project after weathering a number of regime changes at HBO Max. Its parent company produces Warner Brothers Television and now DC Comics. Well, it's still 2 years that they've been writing 8 episodes for. He chose to leave the project after weathering a number of regime changes. What do you mean, weathering? Basically, trying to argue the case for you know, not being sacked, I think, is realistically what's that there. But anyway, the decision to refocus Green Lantern arrives at a pivotal time for DC. Sources say the character of John Stewart was off the table to producers who envisioned the show as focusing on the first Green Lantern, the openly gay Alan Scott, and Guy Gardner. Again, this is literally just political bias nonsense. And again, just as an FYI, we know it is, because why would you just suddenly introduce this character when, you know, well, introduce these characters, should I say, at a time, you know, they're not the most popular. You're choosing to do it for virtue signaling when that is the genuine, you know, the general push from Hollywood and media anyway. So you're going to say that it's not that, and they're just doing it for inclusivity's sake, just because, why? You know, why not? They're really interesting. They might be really interesting, but they're not the most popular. Why wouldn't you do the most popular, especially with a dying brand like DC was at the time? So you know it's for political reasons. So good, I'm glad. Just get rid of them. They're not interesting. But anyway, there's going to be a multitude of other lanterns, from comic book favourites to never before seen heroes. With DC Comics topper Walter Hamada's recent exit, a decision was made to start over and build the show around John Stewart, the most likeable, recognisable character. The character who first appeared in the early 1970s and was modelled after Sidney Poitier. It's worth noting that the Green Lantern creative overhaul has nothing to do with the news this week. James Gunn and Peter Safran has been tapped to lead film. I don't believe that. I genuinely don't believe that at all. Of the previous incarnation, only Berlanti and his Warner Brothers TV-based Berlanti Productions remained attached to Green Lantern. Everyone else is gone. Literally everyone is gone. So, sure, whatever. Who cares? I'm glad this is done. I'm genuinely glad. So the show's budget going forward is expected to be significantly less, as HBO Max, under David Zaslav's combined Warner Brothers Discovery, is focusing on right-sizing its various assets. So, this is still good news. I'm really happy about this. Good. Get rid. Get rid. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Cheers. Take care.